Alright YouTube, want to find out what you gotta eat in order to get a figure like mine? Well, stay tuned to find out, because today I'm cooking pizza. Alright, so here we are sitting in my kitchen ready to make an awesome dinner. I've been working all day, I'm hungry, and you know what? This body, a body like mine, takes a lot of fuel in order to actually keep me going. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about man fuel. I'm talking about man food. I'm talking about the type of stuff that sticks to your bones and gonna make you die before you turn 30. Well, at least that's what I used to say until I turned 30. So either way, I've got an awesome pizza recipe for you guys that I've been curating for a very, very long time. Now, we're going to be nice and quick and dirty about this, but you know what? You can substitute every single little piece in my recipe to suit your taste, so don't worry about it. This is simple, easy to make, one night, quick, put together, take you about, 40 minutes, including the preheat time, the cooking time, and getting everything ready in order to make this pizza. Either way, let's get started. First up, I need the ingredients. Alright, so, like I said, we need to get some ingredients. So, poof, here's some ingredients. Pizza sauce. Pepperoni. Pizza crust. Parmesan cheese. More pepperoni. Cheese, and more cheese. Some spices, like granulated garlic. And some more garlic. And some more garlic. This time in spray form. Kosher salt. Alright, now we got all of our ingredients. It's time to mix all these together to make an awesome pizza. Okay, before we actually begin the pizza making process, we gotta do something. It's called preheating. You don't have to preheat the oven all the way, but to get it started, it's best to just do it right while we're in the middle of prep. That way you don't have to worry about waiting a heck of a long time after it's all gone through before you actually get to the cooking part. Because the cooking part means the eating part, and that's what we like. So, you set the temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I have no clue what that is Celsius, so y'all have to figure that out for me. Either way, preheat that oven to 350. Alright, now that we got the oven preheating, it's time to get to the making process. Now, I prefer to use a cookie sheet, the air bake variety for my cooking pleasures. So, just need something like that, like so. Now, you can cook on whatever pan you got available, so just, use whatever you got. Either way, I like this because it bakes it nice and good, but if you're worried about runoff and stuff hitting from all the ooey gooey goodness that's coming out of this, well, you can be a little wuss. You can get yourself one with a lip on it. Either way, do what you gotta do. Alright, now you see, I'm lazy. I bought the pre-made pizza crust. You can get this for about $3 at Meijer. Comes with 2 pre-made pizza crusts in it. And you know what? It cooks up real nice, it tastes real good, but if you wanted to spend the time, you can make your own if you so desire. Or, if you're a little bit lazy and want to actually get a little bit more authentic type pizza crust rather than, this type, here, you can buy frozen pizza crust. There's actually come out in these little dough rolls that you can get, or if you're so inclined and want to save a little bit of money, because each of those dough rolls cost about $2 a piece, for about $3 to $4, you can get a 5-pack of frozen bread loaves at your grocery store, and you can use one of those, thaw it out, roll it out to make your pizza. Big difference is you got to worry about making sure the crust is right and all this other stuff. You know what, with this, it's easy to make. I'm lazy. I just worked a hard day. I don't want to spend a lot of time cooking, so hey, whatever. We just got to open this puppy up. Take a little cut of my fancy kitchen shears. Betty Crocker, $1 at the Dollar Tree, which is kind of cool. You know, get $1 to get something that works as nice as that does. That's pretty cool. So you're left with an extra one beyond the one that you're making. You know what? I kind of like that little bit of burnt on it, so I'm going to use this one instead. Save this one for later. And the cool things is these packages come with a nice little bag to store your crust in. So take that plastic piece, that little cardboard piece to help keep it nice and flat. Stick it in here, cover it up, and you got yourself a nice little extra pizza crust that you can use. This will keep for about 2 weeks in the pantry, or if you want to stick it in the fridge, you want to tape it up, make it a little bit nicer, you can do that and probably last longer. But just like this, just lay it down flat, it'll last you 2 weeks in your pantry. Alright, now that we got the crust down, it's time for the sauce. As I said, pizza sauce. Now, I am the type that likes lots and lots of pizza sauce. So, I'm going to use this whole entire can. Now, you can buy whatever flavor that suits your boat, but for me, it's contadina pizza sauce all the way. It's nice and sweet. It doesn't have a, doesn't have so much of acidy flavor. It actually winds up being better on my stomach. And either way, I still like it. Now, this one, it's pepperoni flavored. I'm not a big fan of the pepperoni flavor. It changes the flavor a little bit. If you can, get it without pepperoni, or you can try it, because they have another one that's cheese flavored too. So if you really like the flavor of cheese in your sauce, you can do that as well. Now, how are we getting this thing open? Let's see. Luckily for me, I've got a nice little cutter. So, if I can figure out how to work this thing. Alright, now the reason why I use the can is that I'm going to use the whole entire can. Contadina has these spray bottles of sauce, which are nice if you're making smaller pizzas, but you know what? I'm making a big manly pizza, so I'm going to use all this sauce. Now, when I say all the sauce, I mean all of the sauce. So, get yourself a little spoon, so you can dab it up once you're done. And let me tell you, this looks like a lot of sauce. It's because it is. But you know what? It's tasty. Just take my spoon, get in there and get some more of that goodness out of this thing. I think that's pretty good. I could be at this all night if I had to. Now, got a little bit of piece of paper out of here. It's okay. Paper's good for you, but you know what? I just want to throw that stuff out. Alright, now we got the sauce on here, need to do a little bit of spreading. And that's what the spoon here is for. It's great for picking up some of that sauce and spreading it all the way to the edge of the crust. Because for me, I'm not a big fan of crusty pizza. I don't like the crust. I want there to be as little crust as possible, so I'm going to get this spread up as well as I can to the edge. As far to the edge as possible. Now you might be saying, but Nate, if you do that, doesn't that mean some of the sauce and spread and everything inside is going to come running off? Well, not really. This type of pizza crust here has a nice good lip on it. Already pre-made, pre-lipped. Works out really good. So, there we go. Now, sauce is pretty tasty on its own, but for me, I love my garlic. So it's time to spice it up a little bit. A little bit of granulated garlic. Now, you can use garlic pepper or garlic salt if you like, but honestly, I wouldn't put garlic salt on your pizza. I would put granulated garlic and then sea salt or kosher salt otherwise. But for this, we just need the garlic. And like I said, I love the garlic. Get a nice big thing of this from GFS or your local big box store, Costco, Sam's Club, whatever. And I just dab it all on there. Like I said, I love my garlic. Alright, now that we got all this ready to go, it's time for the cheese. I ain't one of them pansies like the New York Pizza Crust, or not New York. I ain't one of those pansies that like to put your pepperoni under the cheese. I want my pepperoni nice and crispy. So the first thing that goes on here is the cheese. And I buy in bulk because I loves my cheese. Alright, let's just get this spread all on here. Works pretty good if you do it in a circular motion. Kind of helps to make sure you don't get some pretty big clumps all together. This isn't the fanciest of shredded cheeses. It's one of the problems with buying in bulk. So you got to be just a little ginger with it. I know I'm making man meat, but you know what? You got to be a little ginger when you're cooking. It's all about the cooking. The love of the cooking, being in the kitchen, smelling the food as you're about to make it, and let me tell you, that's a lot of cheese, and that's going to be quite tasty. Alright, put that cheese over to the side. Now, you might be wondering, but Nate, you grabbed 2 things of cheese. Don't worry, that extra cheese is coming out later. Okay, now that we've got the base down, it's time for the meat, the pepperoni. Now, I find that 1 3-ounce container of pepperoni, comes in little baggies like this, works really well for a pizza of this size. Now remember, I also grabbed a giant thing of pepperoni. And that's because I love pepperoni. However, one of these things should do good for you. You may only use half, you may use whole, but for me, I don't want to see a single bit of this cheese. I've just put all this cheese on here, all this sauce. I don't want to see it. I want the pizza to be completely covered in the pepperoni. So we'll just pry her open. Like I said, I'm going to use this whole entire container, so who cares about resealing it? I know some of the bigger brands actually have a resealable edge on the thing, but you know what? This Mama Mary's that I buy, this is awesome. Used to find it all over the place, but now I only seem to find it at Walmart. It's a little weird. But you know what? When I find it at Walmart, I buy them out of their stock. Because this is a mixture of spicy, mild, and medium flavored pepperonis as far as heat and flavor goes. And it winds up cooking up really nicely on my pizza. Throughout the years, I've been making this. And some of the process of making it is trying to figure out what works, what tastes good, how to prep, how to make it all work out right. Because you know what? Cooking, it's an art form. It seriously is. So you got to kind of ease yourself into it and learn as you go. I used to willy-nilly buy just whatever. I'd, buy those crappy ragu snackums type pizza sauce and whatnot, and upgraded to contadina, and haven't had a problem with my sauce ever since. As far as the pepperoni goes, I used to buy just whatever pepperoni you can find. Now I try to search for some of these more exotic, flavorful pepperonis, because you know what? It's all about the taste. And these things taste awesome. I just go around in a circular motion like this after I've gone around and gotten most of the pizza. And as you can see, this looks like a pretty good pizza already. And most people would say, oh man, Nate, stop at the pepperoni, that's enough. But I ain't done with this package yet. I'm still seeing cheese, I'm still seeing sauce. So that's what I do. Go back around in a circular motion and cover up all of these holes. Oh, hey, look at that. Preheat is done. Sweet. Just keep piling on the pepperoni in a circular motion like so. You get yourself a pretty good size of things. Come on up here. All right. I think we got most of that cheese covered up, so it's time to go around the edges here because we can still see some of that stuff. And hey, I still have pepperoni left in my package. We just keep going around in a circle, covering up every little piece. Now I might be saying, Nate, this is going to be a pretty hearty pizza. This is going to be big. How many of these slices can you eat? Well, on average, I can eat about half the pizza. And when I cut it into pretty much sixths. I cut it into 6 pieces. And I eat about half of it. Now look, I can't see hardly any cheese or pepperoni anywhere on this pizza. I still have a little bit of the pepperoni left. So you know what? It's time to put a little bit more on. And that I've done, this one goes to my mouth. Mmm. That's a mighty tasty pepperoni. Let me tell you. Woo! Alright. Now that's on here. I need to wash my hands. They're a little greasy and I don't want to hold some of the other things that I've got with these greasy fingers. 1 second. Remember kids, cleanliness is next to godliness. Especially when cooking. You don't want to introduce botulism or some other crap into your food. So make sure you wash your hands before you start prepping. Wash your hands after you finish prepping. And might as well wash your hands a couple of times while you're prepping too. Just to kind of keep things from getting, contaminated. You don't want to, work with raw meat or something and then go prep something else, and get that raw meat on something else. It's just not nice. It's not good at all. Okay. This is looking pretty good, but you know what? We can amp this up a little bit more. So, first up, I need a little bit more garlic. Like I said, I love the garlic. I just go around in a circular motion. Nice to see. This is a pretty circular pizza, so it winds up working out right. Okay, now, time for this other garlic seasoning. There's a company that actually shows up at our local Renaissance Festival called Garlic Festival. And they have a bunch of different garlic flavored spices. And this is kind of their Italian blend or whatnot. They call it the Garlighetti. And it's the pasta sprinkle. It's for use on pasta and tomato-y based things and whatnot. It works really good on pizza. Like I said, it's kind of like an Italian seasoning. So I just sprinkle it all over the outside of the pizza like so. And you know what? That's enough. Don't need too much. Okay, now that that's all in there, I like a little salt. You don't have to use the salt, but if you do use salt, personally, I recommend Kosher Salt for cooking. It just works better for cooking the way the granules and everything are set up. Or you can use sea salt, freshly ground sea salt or something like that. But honestly, don't use iodized salt. You should never use iodized salt. You just wind up using way more than you need when you do it that way. And like I say, just a little bit of sprinkle here on the hands, and then I just come across and then go right over the pizza in a circular motion, and there we go. Pizza is now salted. One of the cool things is you can taste all of that salt. Despite the fact I used very little, you can taste all of it. If I use that same amount in table salt and iodine salt, it just wouldn't turn out right. You'd have to use more. You just wouldn't be able to taste it. So all of that works really good. Okay, next up, Parmesan cheese. Now, you might know, if you ever gone to a pizzeria, they always have Parmesan cheese and red pepper flakes and whatnot for you. And people usually put it on their pizza after it's been cooked. I found that this comes out with a nice nutty flavor when you cook it and crisp it on top of your pizza. So I prefer to actually put it on top of the pepperoni. And then you might be saying, but Nate, I thought earlier you said you wanted to be a man and you wanted all of your pepperoni to be nice and crispy. Well, guess what? All of that little bit of cheese on there ain't gonna give me a problem with crisping up this pepperoni. All right, now it's time for the other cheese. More mozzarella. Now I learned this technique of doing this little bit of cheese on top of the pepperoni after I started eating Sicilian style pizzas and whatnot. And what I noticed in Sicilian style pizzas, they put the pepperoni on top and then they'd sprinkle some more cheese on top of that pepperoni. This kind of helps bind it all together because the cheese will melt on top of the pepperoni and it just makes for some nice little bit of extra ooey gooiness on top. But believe me, that will still brown up nicely. Okay. Now you might be thinking I'm done here, but oh no, there was one more thing of garlic that I'd showed you guys, and that's this right here. Vegeline garlic mix. I love garlic mist. This adds extra bit of garlic flavor to just about anything that I make. Goes on, it is spray can, but you know what? It tastes really good. One of the other things it does, it imports a nice, awesome smell to it. Really smells garlicky, and this, I wouldn't cook without this thing. If you want to find this, you can find this at your local GFS, your local Gordon Food Service. Some of the other food service stores might sell this. You might be able to find it at big box stores if you look. There might be something similar to this brand available, but it's garlic mist, and basically it's roasted garlic suspended in butter, effectively. And it's in a spray can. If you're looking for the Garlic Festival stuff, you can find it online by going to garlicfestival.com. Great place. Awesome stuff. You can buy in bulk, buy small, whatever. I buy in bulk because I use so much of it. Now, I just put a lot of Parmesan cheese on here, so I start with a little bit of a soft, easy glaze, just to make sure that the Parmesan cheese doesn't go flying on me. And then spray all over that crust. That's going to make that turn out all nice and garlicky and tasty. And just look at that. Just look at that yellow up right there. That's just, and the aroma coming off of it already smells awesome. And you know what? Guess what? We are ready to go. Oven's already preheated, so we are ready to pop this puppy in the oven. So let's go ahead and do that. Now me, I like to pop it into the top rack. I think it winds up cooking up better there on the top rack. Plus, when the timer's done, I can broil it for a little bit, which makes it even more awesome. Speaking of time, how long do we need to cook this for? Well, let me show you. Turn my timer on and mark this up for 25 minutes. Now I do 25 minutes because that gives me a nice good golden crust on everything. Now you could cook it quicker if you turn up that temperature, but you know what? I find that a nice low and slow type cook winds up bringing out a little bit more flavor in all the spices and the pepperoni and everything I put in. But yeah, sure, you can throw it up to 425, it'll cook in half the time pretty much. So we just leave it in here for 25 minutes, and 25 minutes from now I'm going to turn the broiler on to give it a nice little bit of extra crisp and crust on it, and we'll be ready to eat. Alright, timer's up. That means it's time to go check on that pizza. Just look at that awesomeness. I mean, seriously, look at this. This looks really good. And it's really hot in my hand, so I'm going to set it down. However, a little bit more we got to do. So, back into the oven. So, we've already, pretty much cooked it. But you know what? I like my pizza a little bit more crispy. So, off. Let's get the broil on. And this is part of the reason why we put it up on that top rack. Have this broil on, and we leave it there for, about 5 minutes or so. And then we're going to have some pretty awesome pizza. Just look at that thing crisping up in there. She's looking pretty good. And you know what? I think she's about ready. And when I said 5 minutes, I mean like a minute, maybe 2. Because once that starts heating up, that cooks pretty quick. And there we go. Nice brown top pizza. Alright, now that the pizza's cooked, it's time to cut. Me, I like to cut while it's still nice and hot, because that's just the way I am. Take your pizza cutter, cut it up all nice, real good. Now, me, I prefer my pizza to be nice and crispy and whatnot, and heavy on the ingredients, but you know what? One of the great things about making pizza is you can pretty much make it however you want. So if you don't like pepperoni and like something else, go right ahead. Make it up using that. If you don't like, all of the cheese, you don't have to use as much cheese, you don't have to use as much sauce. You can pretty much take this and you can just cook it to taste. And that's what's really cool about, making pizza. That's what's really cool about a lot of cooking. Because I may like something one way, you may like it another, and you know what? There's no wrong way when you're cooking. Because in the end, it's all about what everybody likes. Voila! We have ourselves a pizza. Now the only thing left is to grab a piece and try her on up. Got myself a plate, got myself a serving thing. It's actually supposed to be for pies, but you know what? This is really good for pulling out some pizza pies. This pizza looks good. Just look at that come off. All that cheese, all that toppings. Extra pepperoni. So good. Just look at that. This is just epic. Alright, y'all. That's how you make some epic man food pizza. Now the only thing left is to dig in. Enjoy.